Blog Talk Radio.
Join us for today's episode of the Utopian Realities Slope, Save Life on Planet Earth Blog Talk Radio show, bringing you solution bearers with practical, proven, scientific ways to help you eliminate global level irradiation and extinction level threats from your body, and bringing forward the means to restore and sustain global waters, air, soil, and sentient life. Welcome. Greetings. This is Lisa Wolf of Slope, Save Life on Planet Earth, your host. On these Sunday shows, we're bringing you life-enhancing and life-saving information about how to bioremediate yourself and those you love from the high levels of radiation and air and waterborne contaminants across North America and the Northern Hemisphere. We have with us today Gunnar Keel of Trace Botanicals, LLC, whom I can only describe as one of the most cutting-edge creators of health supplements and healing technologies alive today. If I read his curriculum vitae, it would take a full 5 minutes. So please go to wbnslope.weebly.com where I've posted Gunnar's background in detail. Here's a short excerpt. Gunnar Keel, co-owner of Trace Botanicals, LLC Health Supplements, develops and markets supplement formulas, develops probiotic health and skincare products, is a member of the board of directors of the MOLA Museum of Humanity in Los Angeles, has been a member of the Directors Guild of America since 1984. In 2008, he co-founded the Shielders, LLC, a think tank, creating products that protect the body from the dangers of electromagnetic radiation. Gunnar's developed biotechnology to digest green waste and create ethanol and electricity. He's created healing systems and nutraceuticals for the health and spa marketplace in Beverly Hills and worldwide. He's also a filmmaker and developed a television series, Re-inheriting the Planet for the New Millennium, as well as Cool Space Stuff, Delivering Destiny, chronicling the building of the International Space Station, which won a silver medal at the Houston Documentary Film Festival. And he shot documentaries in Istanbul and Turkey on Dr. Doyek's super ionization technology. He's trained as a shaman in subtle energy differentiation, co-designed and implemented probiotic stabilization of the Biosphere 2 habitat waste stream marsh, and transitioned Michael Jackson's Neverland Ranch from chemical to all organic nutrients, and did the hydrocarbon remediation and biostabilization of Neverland Lake. And this is just a small sampling of what Gunnar Keel has done. It's an honor to have Gunnar with us, and as our mission as Utopian Realities Slope is to give the world's people solutions to stay alive and thrive during these challenging times. I'm going to be asking Gunnar what he recommends, since he's obviously been thinking about this professionally for years and is bringing forward humic fulvic compounds as part of the solution. And I'm not sure that Gunnar is on the air right now. We lost him. So I am going to, here we go. There's Gunnar. Thank you. All right. Okay. Gunnar, are you with us?
Yes, I'm with you.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful. So why are humic fulvic compounds so important for everyone to have in their diets, especially now?
Well, humic and fulvic acids are nature's number one detoxifier and nutrifier on a cellular level. And that is for plants, animals, birds, fish, and humans. And prior to modern agricultural processes with chemical urea, etc., the process of creating humic and fulvic acids by the bacteria breaking down organic material was present everywhere. Humic and fulvic acid was in trace elements in all our food and all our water. And since then, since in the United States since the 30s, it has been destroyed because the process to create these incredible compounds was taken away because the bacteria was no longer thriving and it was no longer able to break down these organic compounds into what nature has really gifted us with that are such great secrets to health. And on top of that, as we have been getting less and less, and now most modern water systems have all of the humic and fulvic extracted from it, and it's unfortunately replaced with chlorine and chloramine. And not only do we have this taken away from our everyday exposure, we are living in, as we all know, a much more toxic environment with hundreds of thousands of chemicals and interactions, radiation and pollutions of all type that we're having to deal with on a daily basis. So, humic and fulvic acid has been used for thousands of years in cultural medicine around the planet and has been proven to be effective and safe. And we can go into, if you'd like, the fulvic side first, because I know that a lot of people have concerns about radiation. And so fulvic acid is a distillate of humic acid. So wherever there is humic acid, there is fulvic acid. And both humic and fulvic have plant-based minerals, 77 different plant-based minerals that actually act more like enzymes. And also the fulvic acid is the most complicated of all compounds, and it has the ability to adjust its structure. And that's one of the great things about it because, of course, the profit-focused companies are looking to find ways that they can patent things and charge high processes for them. So the fulvic compound is constantly moving and changing. So when they look at it under electron microscope, it's different. And that is part of the genius of how it works in nature. When you take fulvic acid into the body or it encounters a toxin in nature, it has the ability through what is referred to as terrain resonance induction. With understanding and the ability to interact with the resonance of different toxins and different compounds, the fulvic compound makes the decision whether it's best to donor an electron and shift that toxin into something that can be used, or it actually accepts a electron into its structure and then shifts that in a different direction. And when it's working in the body, what it will do is it will absorb an electron of a toxin into its structure, and then it can actually exit the cell and the body through the normal excretion processes. So what we have here is a unique, brilliant compound that is designed to shift whatever is toxic to living biology to something non-toxic. And it does this through functionally adaptive, bidirectional donoring of electrons. So
and
what actually can happen...
I'm sorry, that includes removing radiation.
It does include removing radiation. And what I'd like to do today is just give people some highlights, and then I can give them some references to go look deeper into the science of this. And one person that really did an incredible amount of work is Dr. William Jackson, who wrote a book called Environmental Care and Share. And he did a lot of work with fulvic acids and radiation. And we're not only talking the relatively light radiations that we're all encountering today and are dealing with in our bodies, but he actually dealt with heavy nuclear radiation from power plants and the heavy water that's being used and contaminated by all of these nuclear plants. And the fulvic acid neutralized it. And this is what's so wonderful. Even if a lot of people have heard about it, it's good to take potassium so that their thyroid does not collect the radiation. Well, one of the problems with potassium is you can overuse it, and it only deals with the thyroid. The fulvic acid is an entire body process, and what it can actually do is you can drink it, and it will pick up nutrients like quinones, like a CoQ10, which we know is the fuel for the mitochondria in our cells. So what the fulvic will do is it's nature's number one system to bring nutrients into the cell and toxins out of the cell. So what it will do is it will take a quinone, let's say a CoQ10, into its structure. It will then transport it through the cell membrane, deliver it to the mitochondria that uses that quinone to manufacture ATP, which is the fuel of the cell. Then, while it's there, it will donor electrons to the mitochondria to keep it from oxidizing. Then when that ATP cycle is over, it's amazing. When that ATP cycle is over, it can actually shift its structure, take an electron of a toxin in the cell into its structure, exit that cell membrane, and then exit the body through the normal excretion processes. So it's more than a win-win-win for us. And the only real downside to it is that I always encourage people to start slowly with it, because depending on their level of health and toxicity, they could go into a Hertzheimer or what is referred to as a detox effect. And it's uncomfortable. It's not something bad, but it is uncomfortable. So we really encourage people to start at low doses. There's no hurry, and do it on a regular basis. And there's many other amazing things about the fulvic acid. What I suggest often is to take, we sell a 32-ounce bottle as a month's supply, so you basically do an ounce a day. And when people start, I suggest they start on maybe even a quarter ounce. And if you put that into like a large liter or liter and a half of water, the fulvic will actually help microcluster that water so that it is much more available to the cell structure, much more hydrating, lower surface tension, and it is ideal to deal with a lot of the waters we have because they are, unfortunately, in very large clusters. And quickly what that means is when you put water through straight pipes under pressure, it creates a pressure wave. That's when you turn on a pipe in an old house, you hear that pounding. So what happens is the H2O clusters go from 1, 2, and 3, where it is in nature when it's constantly going through counter-rotating vortexes, and those clusters go up to 20, 22. So when that water goes into the body, it takes energy and it resists being as available to the cell structure as it should be. So by putting fulvic into a large liter and a half of water that you drink through a long period of time, the fulvic has some time to properly work towards clustering that water in a much more absorbable way. So that's really important.
Gunnar,
yes.
We're going to take a short break to learn more about how we can protect our lives with compounds after a word about our sponsor. We'll be right back. And now a word from a sponsor, New Portal, working with us to enhance life. Calling all world changers and visionaries. Attention, world changers and visionaries. Do you have a green or caring cause, project, or company that you want to take to your next level? Do you want increased production, increased income, funds, large or small funding programs? Then visit newportal.org. New Portal is more productive and profitable than combining Facebook, Salesforce, Kickstarter, e-commerce, email marketing, telemarketing, press releases, Google+, LinkedIn, Twitter. Visit newportal.org/bizcard/save life on planet Earth. New Portal, making a better future for us all. Okay, thank you, Gunnar. So let's go on. So this is amazing that something so natural can have such profound impact. Tell us more.
Well, humic and fulvic acids are the result of the humification process. And humification is one of the few things that science has not been able to recreate, and that is breakdown of organic material by bacteria. And so when you go after a source of humic and fulvic, it can be peat moss, it can be organic material between very highly pressured rocks that break it down. But the important part is that you have a full spectrum of organic material to be broken down. You need the full spectrum of bacteria to do it properly, and then it needs to be protected from any type of pollution, whether it's environmental or man-made industrial pollution. And in the regards to the access that we have for the humic fulvic trace botanicals, it's a North American deposit, and it was an ancient primordial freshwater rainforest that has been compressed and broken down for millions of years. And one of the reasons that's so wonderful is that millions of years ago, during that time, there was absolutely pristine air, pristine sun, and amazing nutritive organic material. So you actually have that ancient rainforest broken down into a small strata that has been compressed into pure humic fulvic compounds. And it has been then covered over in time and protected from any type of pollutants. So we've looked all around the world to find what we felt was the best deposit. And then, of course, like anything else, once you have that deposit, you have to make sure that it's processed properly. So ours is processed with no heat, pressure, or chemicals in two very bespoke, specially built machines that can work this product down into the proper size ratio. And in this, we're talking about the humic, and I'll cover the humic very briefly for a moment. The humic acid, also known as brown coal, luckily it has no energy value, so it hasn't been raped, is nature's #1 antiviral. And once again, it's no longer in our diet, and we're exposed more and more to viruses all the time, so we need to supplement with this. And what happens in the body is that it was Beauchamp that said it's not that we're attacked from germs on the outside, it's what our body does to allow them to grow or to defend and keep them from growing. So the humic acid, which is great, is if you take it, it's designed to last about 12 hours in the body. So if you take it morning and night, whatever your schedule is, you have about a 24-hour coverage. And so what that means is while it's in the body, it's giving you all the trace minerals. It's giving you electrolytes. And because of the ratio of minerals, it allows the blood to carry
And
more
now a word from
blood.
a sponsor, New Portal, working with us to enhance life.
Oh. Wow. I beg your pardon, Gunnar.
That's okay.
I don't know. Okay, go on.
That's
I'm
okay.
sorry.
So that's okay. So while you are taking this stuff that is giving you minerals, giving you electrolytes, helping detox the body, taking away radiation, doing all these things, it has a polymer that has a attraction to the protein on the receptor of viruses. So if there's a virus free floating in the body, it coats that receptor. That means the viral infusion process is stopped because the virus has to attach to a cell, enter the cell, co-opt the cell to grow more viruses, and then they break out. And that's how they multiply, and then they go on to other cells. So what that means is if you are exposed to the flu or something and you have this in your body, humic compound attaches to the receptor, stops the viral infusion process, and the viral load never gets to a point where you have any symptom or ever know you've been exposed. Now, if you're dealing with the viruses that are referred to as latently infecting viruses, those are herpes, shingles, HIV, etc. What happens is those viruses can enter a cell, and instead of immediately going into a reproduction cycle, which would break out with thousands of viruses in a short amount of time, they go dormant and they're latent. Later on, they get some signal that sends them into the reproductive cycle and they break out. So what that means is you can clear the bloodstream of virus, but then you have a latent cell open up and you have that reactivation. So the great thing about Humic is that you're doing all this great stuff for you while you're waiting for any of those latent cells to open up and release, and they're immediately scavenged so they can't go into the reproductive cycle. So slowly but surely, over time, all those latent cells will release, and if you have the Humic in there, it will keep them from being able to replicate, and you will eventually get rid of this. And for people, like I'm a baby boomer, the baby boomers are getting older, and they're being told that they're going to get shingles. Well, shingles is a latently infecting virus. So if you start with this now, all those small releases that you don't really even notice, or you might just notice it's a little pain and you don't pay attention to, will be scavenged up, and later on you won't possibly develop full-blown shingles.
Beautiful. So it sounds like this is something that everybody needs to have in their diets. I mean, any experiences that you can share of that you've seen with these?
Certainly, we've had great results. We've had, two groups of people have been very strong with us: school teachers and flight attendants. And I had one teacher say, if it gets me through a year with no flu, I'll write you an endorsement. So we feel that at Trace Botanicals, we have a couple different versions of the product. We have a bottle of 60 caps of 600 milligrams, which is designed for a month. You take one in the morning, one at night. And then we also have a tub of powder, and that's great for kids because a friend of mine has a kid, and he put it on his ice cream and told him it was Oreo because it's black, but it doesn't have any taste.
Uh-huh.
So you can slip it in the kids' smoothie or food. It's in their diet, and they don't even have it, and they can just make their way through school without being in the bouillabaisse of flu and germs and all of that stuff. And so it's made a big, big difference in a lot of people's life. And what is interesting about it is the intelligence of the compound goes to where it's needed first. So if you have something that is in your mind and you're taking it for that, it may take just a little while to get up to speed on that specific challenge because it might be used somewhere else. And so it's so important, I feel, because it's not in our foods anymore. It's not in our water. We're exposed to so many toxins, let alone the radiation and the viruses that are everywhere. To have this in their diet, because it is nature's number one antiviral, number one electrolyte, number one source of bioavailable plant-based minerals. And it's the best money spent for your health because it is a prophylactic to so many different diseases.
Well, I look forward to adding it to my protocol. Thank you so much, Gunnar. Anything more? We have just another couple of minutes. Anything more that you'd like to share?
Oh, you bet. You bet. There's a lot more. And what we do caution, of course, we have a Fulvic Acid, which is the liquid, if you're especially wanting to deal with radiation and heavily cellular detoxing. I would suggest the Fulvic, the Quantum Fulvic Complex, which is a liquid. And then if for viruses and minerals, etc., I would suggest the Humic compound, because that is the powder and it lasts in the body about 12 hours. And they can both be used together for an ideal coverage and protection. And it really is a good idea to at least go on it for a while, cleanse the body out, and then you can really see where you feel when you're not quite as burdened heavy toxic loads. And we've had little children use it that have had the croup. We've had great response with dogs and parvo. So it's great for dogs, cats, kids, grandmothers, everybody. As I say, it's nature's number one antiviral, number one electric, number one bidirectional antioxidant that everybody should have in their diet.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Gunnar. Listeners, protect your health with Trace Botanicals Humic Fulvic Compound. Please visit tracebotanicals.com and use the code UTOPIA to receive a 15% discount. And for another Essential Slope solution, join us Saturday, April 23rd at 2 p.m. when scientist Dennis Watts joins us to speak about quantum physics, health healing, and remediating Fukushima. And thanks to Anton Miserak of ShastaSong.com for the music used. For more information, contact whitebuffalonation@gmail.com, visit wbnslope.weebly.com, our White Buffalo Nation Facebook page, and support the Slope mission at gofundme.com/slope. Together, let's save life on planet Earth. That's yours, mine, and all of our. Thank you, Gunnar, and thank you, listeners, for joining us.
Thank you, Lisa. It was a pleasure.
Thanks.
How could anyone ever tell you you were anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you you were less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle? How deeply you're connected to my
Thank you. Join us again.